Hey, were you just saying hi to Rusty? Hey, Rusty, want to come play? Come play. Good boy. Is that Rusty? Can you say Rusty? Boober, can you say Rusty? Rusty? Can you say Rusty? Rusty. Rusty. Yeah, that's Rusty. Hey, bud. So. I think Rachel already mentioned that we're decluttering this afternoon. Rach, did you want to keep your University of Oklahoma acceptance package, or what else? What other colleges you got?
I'm trying to remember.
Colorado.
PLS.
Southwest Missouri State.
Was. I mean, these notes are a work of art.
Speaking of works of art.
I had impeccable note taking.
I mean.
What is PLS?
Look at that.
Precious little sleep.
Public, no. PLS. Language, no.
Dilemmas of democracy. Theory of democratic government.
These kids love paper and brochures. They're gonna have a ball.
Here was my biology notes in college.
Ooh, better keep that one.
My biology instructor, I'm not saying anything against people who wear sandals with socks, just pointing it out. He had sandals with socks on. I mean, like socks up to here, and then like Birkenstock sandals. And the first words out of his mouth when class started were, "I'm gonna prove to you that God doesn't exist." And like a third of the class stood up and walked out. This is college in the middle of the Bible Belt. I mean, what a power trip that guy was on. He teaches intro biology. Tangent theta times cosecant theta.
Trig?
Yep.
I actually liked Trig.
I did too.
Honey, did you want to keep this Jiffy Lube receipt from 2007?
What's it? What car was it?
Your 1994 Honda.
Probably worth keeping, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All food items are for Leo.
Why do I have all of this? I have like brochures to when I was deciding if I wanted to go to UMKC.
And here's the card.
Admission requirements for the
So I had said it, I don't know, 10 or 20, maybe even 50 times when we lived out in South Carolina.
What?
But Rachel definitely has hoarder tendencies.
I do not.
She blames it on her crafting. She's a crafter.
No. Ho. I used to have hoarder tendencies. I don't anymore. I'm a recovering hoarder.
What am I looking at?
The cutest, tiniest little goosebumps.
Oh.
Can you see them?
No.
Oh, they're so little.
She's too pale.
She smells like Skittles. Hi, Boo.
That's interesting.
So once again, I put the onesie on the outside of the pants. I can't be the only one that, like, when I change their diaper, I forget to put the snaps together on the onesie before I pull the pants up.
I forget, but if I do, then I just leave it untucked.
Yeah, and then it just flaps.
Right. Almost bedtime. Look at this guy.
He looks like he has his eyebrows colored because of the sauce that was in his dinner. We've been doing baths like every single night because they just love them so much. We were doing like every other night. We don't usually go longer than that, do we?
No, every other night.
Pew! Ew! Pew-wee! Ew! That stinks. Pew! Pew! And they officially walk more than they crawl by a long shot.
Just like overnight.
Pew-wee!
It's crazy.
Oh,
It's
that
like
stinks.
they weren't very good. I mean, you guys saw. It was like 2 days ago. They weren't very good, and now they're pretty darn proficient. And now, the main event you've all been waiting for. Barb is back. She just got back from her trip. I'll let her kind of give an overview of her trip. So, without further ado, here's Barb. If you could, just give us like a quick overview of the whole.
Okay. It was a trip put on by EO, Educational Opportunities. And our church ended up having 5 people go from our church. And our pastor went, and then also, they don't go to our church, but his in-laws also came with us. And then there were 2 other couples from a nearby town, and so they were part of our group. But overall, our group got meshed in together with other groups that were small like ours, and so there were 53 total of us in the group. Of that 53, there were probably 5 pastors. So one of the cool things about having the pastors there is they did devotions at some of the main sites. Of course, they always started us every day with prayer and stuff like that too. But it was neat having the different pastors, and one of them was a lady, and that was fun to have a woman's view on some of this stuff too.
How long was the flight, and where exactly did you go?
Well, we flew out of St. Louis, which is about 2.5 hour drive from here, and then we flew to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta we flew to New York, and then it was a 10-hour flight to Tel Aviv, Israel. On the way there, it was a 10-hour flight because of the tailwind, and then on the way home it was a 12-hour flight back. Yes, it was long. And no, you did not get much sleep. On the way there, I don't remember the jet lag really hitting me that much, because we got there and it was like 5 in the afternoon, and I guess for us here at home it would have been 10 o'clock in the morning. So when we got there, we were able to have dinner, and then we pretty much got ready for bed and went to bed. So we got a full night's sleep. I will say, on educational trip, it's a lot different than just your regular vacation, because you're taking in educational sites every single day, all day long, and I don't want to complain about the trip, but it's pretty overwhelming, all the stuff that you learn and you want to learn,
Yeah.
of course. So we flew into Tel Aviv, and then from there we went to Jerusalem. We bussed out of Jerusalem the first 4 days, I guess, and then they bussed us to Tiberias, and that's where we stayed the rest of the trip, which was right on the Sea of Galilee, which was pretty cool.
Were your hotels pretty nice?
Yeah, they were really nice.
Free Wi-Fi?
Free Wi-Fi.
Did you watch any YouTube?
No. No. Yeah, it was each morning and each night they had a wonderful buffet that had anything and everything that you can think of on it, and a lot of olives, of course, and tons of bread, honey, cheeses, and just dishes made out of roasted garlic and roasted peppers. And there was a main fish that, don't ask me the name of it, but they had that every night, but it was like 6 different ways.
Yeah.
They had some recognizable meat, like chicken. I tried to eat stuff that I didn't know what it was, just, because I was there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like Rhonda asked, like, what's one thing you learned from the trip that you didn't know? I'm sure there's multiple things, but like, does one thing specifically stand out?
My pastor had asked me a question as, what is one thing that surprised you? A lot of the sites that are major sites will have churches built on them, like where Jesus was born in Bethlehem. It's down in a cave, and so above it is this magnificent church, and there are masses and all kinds of services that go on there. It's an active church. And when we were there, when we went down in the cave to see where the spot where they say Jesus was actually born, they were getting ready to have a service there, and they blessed that site 3 times a day. And so it was 12 o'clock noon, and we were kind of rushed through that in order for them to do that. And then when we went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and that's where Jesus was actually crucified, and that site there is probably pretty close to where it would have been. The church there, it was some kind of Catholic holiday, I guess. It was just wall-to-wall people. I mean, we were just crammed in together, and they had a processional go through of priests and high priests and some major players up in the Catholic world, I guess,
Cool.
that went on. But that, I guess, if anything surprised me, and I did learn a lot of things that I didn't know, of course. I guess that surprised me more to know that those were active churches.
What would you say was the most awe-inspiring moment?
One was when we went to the Mount of Beatitudes, where Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount. There again, they had a church up there too, but they also have this outside area that was with walkways, and it was really beautiful, and had some of them had like natural rock places where you could sit down and stuff. And so our group, we had a devotion there. They read the Beatitudes, and it was read, and this is probably going to be controversial to some people, but in the version of the Bible, the Message. And I like the Message too, and it is different though. But they read it, and that was just a moment for me. I just had my head bowed and my eyes closed, and I was just thinking about Jesus up there giving the sermon to everybody and teaching, and then you look down and there's the Sea of Galilee, and where a lot of his ministry took place. And then also when we walked down to the Garden of Gethsemane. This is it. I'm in the Garden of Gethsemane. Let's see if I can turn this around. Maybe not. That was pretty cool too. I mean, it's not a garden that is absolutely beautiful with flowers and all that. It's these old olive trees that are hundreds and hundreds of years old, and that was really cool.
Did you go to where Jesus was baptized?
The Jordan River, yeah. And we were able to remember our baptism.
Okay.
And so our pastor did that. The Jordan River is very long, is pretty commercialized right there, of course, because they have to have dressing rooms and showers and a safe place for everybody to actually be able to get into the river and things like that. So I think more of a moment for me was watching. We had one man in our church group that was being baptized for the very first time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's neat. So did you have a guide who gave you advice on behavior and clothing?
We had a tour guide, and it was a lady, and she had been doing this for 30 years. I guess she advised us a little bit. There were some EO sent out some rules and stuff on some of the sites where you wouldn't want to go there in shorts, you wouldn't want to go there in a sleeveless top and stuff like that. But being in the winter, it didn't really affect us at all.
Yeah, right.
The tour guide she's Jewish, but she was really good explaining the sites and to a Christian group.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Well, Jesus was Jewish.
Exactly.
What, if anything, did you not get to experience that you might go back for?
We did not get to go to Masada, and that was because the tram that took you to the top of it was out of order, or else they were fixing it.
Do you feel like it's become too commercialized? Was it hard to go to places where Jesus was tortured and crucified?
So we walked what they call the Stations of the Cross. We walked through Jerusalem, the old streets and stuff, and the stations were in different buildings, and so you end up at the place where he was crucified. So that was pretty powerful, I guess, doing that. But again, that ended up being the church that was absolutely packed, and our pastor went there. Some of the people had asked questions about being scared and stuff, and I think I was nervous going over there, just thinking, what could happen and stuff like that. But once I got there, I felt really safe, and the Israeli police, I guess you call them, they were everywhere, and security is really high in Israel.
So did you only go to Israel? Why do they call it the Holy Land and not just say, I took a trip to Israel, but we say, we went to the Holy Land?
Yeah, we just did stay in Israel, but there were some other people that stayed. There was other extensions that you could go into Jordan and Egypt. I think probably they call Israel the Holy Land mainly because that's where all the major sites were for where Jesus was and was born and died. But certainly, yeah, all that area around there. I mean, even Syria and all that, of course, were back in the day.
Did you see anybody wearing a Chiefs shirt besides anybody in your group that traveled over?
No, I did not. There were some other teams that represented.
Oh yeah, like the Cowboys or something?
Yeah, but yeah, they were all cheering for the Chiefs though.
Nice.
But we went to this one t-shirt place and we had our Kansas City Chiefs shirts made. They had the logo thing, the Chiefs arrowhead deal, and then it said that in Arabic, Kansas City Chiefs.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we supported those on Sunday.
If someone's on the fence about whether or not to visit the Holy Land, is there anything that you would say to like convince them to go or convince them not to go? Like, do you have any advice?
Yes, I would say if it's on your bucket list, move it up and go. It was life-changing experience for sure. And you go back and read your Bible, and I'm in a Bible study right now. I've already read some things and mentioning places that we went to, and it's like, okay, cool. You know, I can see that in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool. But yeah, I would definitely say to go. And you know, they did have an airstrike there while we were there in Tiberias, and they were striking a ski resort that wasn't very far from where we were staying. And I didn't hear the airplanes, but a lot of people in our group heard the fighter airplanes go back over from Israel back over to Syria, and they actually bombed some places in Syria. The next morning my pastor said, so I wonder what she's going to say, our tour guide, about what happened last night. I'm like, what happened last night? So
did they talk about it at all, or did she not even mention it?
She said she felt very safe, and we had nothing to worry about. We ended up going, they had closed that ski resort the next day, and we actually drove right by it as we were going to another site to visit. So she said, you know, if I didn't feel comfortable, I wouldn't be taking you guys up there. So, and I really didn't feel scared. I think I would have if I would have heard those airplanes and jets, fighter planes going over.
Well, you should be used to it living in Beaufort for 6 months.
Right, or even here.
Yeah.
We live near Whiteman Air Force Base, and they cruise the lake a lot. But
so what was the company that you went with? Or
Educational Opportunities, EO.
Okay, we'll leave a link below to the company. You would recommend that company?
Yeah, I think they're pretty well organized, and like I said, the tour guide that we had, she'd been doing it for 30 years, and they go through, I think she said her son was doing the program now, and it's 2 years.
Wow. To become a tour guide?
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
I did bring back a really cool souvenir, and I've got it on.
You're wearing it right now?
I'm wearing it right now. And this is actually a coin that was used, they call it the widow's mite, and it was a coin that was used during Jesus' day. It's based on the story in John where the widow, they go to the temple and they're supposed to give their offering, and the rich people will give, Jesus says the rich people will give what they have in excess, but the widow gave 2 of these coins, which would have been probably like a penny or something, but that was all that she had. Jesus said that she gave more because she gave everything that she had.
Awesome. So thanks for Barb for sitting down, chatting with us. If you have any more questions, leave them below. We'll probably you know, we can comment on your comment to answer the questions.
Yeah.